Architectural Builder's Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
So tell me, what are you looking at?
The only thing I looked at was, I don't have a copy of the email or anything, so I was just looking at the product on our website when I searched 5400 LN.
So what does your client have?
He just gave me 5400 LN from Yale.
Okay.
So he says he's got a bunch of those on the job site. He's installed them. So I think he said they're all keyed differently, and he needs master keys now. So.
Oh, well, okay. I thought for a moment that there was an existing master key and he needs the master key. Now, if the guy buys a bunch of locks, doesn't think about how they're keyed, they show up, and now he needs locksmithing done to him. So that's easy in the sense of he could ship all that stuff to us. We'll do all the keying here, but I would want to know the keyway first so I could make sure that I had blanks. Okay. Now, that's impractical because of that 415 area code, assuming he's in San Francisco.
All right.
Or thereabouts. I thought that you had someone who was saying, I've got these master keyed locks and I don't have a copy of the master. Well, that's a big red flag when someone says that, from not only the perspective that, I hear that, semi-frequently. And it's someone looking for something that they don't have rights and privileges to possess. So people try to come up with that, thinking that their lack of being transparent somehow disguises the shenanigans that they're trying to get up to. But what they don't realize is when they say that to me, they're speaking to somebody who understands the science behind locksmithing. So the practical problem of taking a whole mess of an unknown number of lock sets that are already master keyed is that I can take one cylinder apart, and if I've got the change key, I can deduce what other possible biddings or cut key combinations would actually work that cylinder. But you can't be positive in the sense of what if there are master tumblers in the cylinder that lead to more than one key working? Then the other problem is you really need to have all of the cylinders in your possession to absolutely deduce all of the biddings, which are the cuts of the keys for all the lock sets, and then all of the other keys that would operate that. And if a locksmith is following the industry standards in terms of best practice, and certainly ethical reasoning when it comes to being a locksmith, a proper locksmith would never accept a job where someone comes in with a master keyed lock and says, here's the key that operates it. I need you to cut me the master key for it. You can take the cylinder apart. You can figure out what tumblers go where, and then you'll have something left over, and that something left over is probably the master. But that is exceptionally unethical to do that. Exceptionally. The science permits me to do it, but unless you know that this person owns the master key system,
all right,
to leverage your knowledge of how a cylinder works in such a way would be highly unethical, and it would also be extremely irresponsible and exceptionally risky. The possession of a key that someone ought not have is not potentially dangerous. It's measurably dangerous. Many years ago, I had a customer of mine in Chicago who I have keyed thousands of cylinders for, both in the shop and in the field, standing there at the door, at Chicago, at North Avenue in Milwaukee, looking over my shoulder while I'm keying. And I've been on those jobs where they've called the sheriff to, what's the word when someone doesn't pay their rent? They get what? They get
evicted.
Not ejected.
I don't know.
Evicted. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Evicted. So I've been there while the poor lady's stuff is being put in the street, her couch. So it's now I know the owner of the system because I knew him, I knew his uncle, I knew his brother, his sister, his father, his mother. I've been to his house, so I know he owns the master key.
Gotcha.
But to have someone contact you that you don't know and say, "Oh yeah, I own this master key system,"
okay.
You know, I could do it. I know how to do it. I wouldn't do it, nor would any locksmith that is ethical do that. So the industry standard does provide us guidance as to how you go about doing that. Your response to that customer is in this event where you've lost the master, you've got 12 locks, let's say, the response is bring me all the locks. I'm going to rekey everything and start from scratch.
Gotcha.
That is a permissible path, but you're starting from scratch. So the other thing that can be done for your client is if you determine the locks that he has, you could sell him new cylinders that are keyed the way he wants. And he'll take out the old cylinders, put them in his junk drawer, put in all new cylinders. So that's another option. So it's send us everything, 1. 2, go to a local locksmith. 3, we sell him all new stuff that we can key properly according to his requirements. But my initial thought was you had someone who wanted a master key that and the cylinders were already master keyed. And I wanted to touch on, yeah, I can sure do it. I can sure figure out what the master is. But these are stock in trade secrets of ethical locksmiths. Sorry, that was a lot to unpack, but I wanted you to know the full answer.
Okay, good deal. I understand. I think I'm going to call him back.
What questions do you have about that? Anything?
Correctly. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, call the client back and let him know what his options are. I just think because we're across the country, we're not the fastest solution. But can we do it? Oh, you bet. Easy. I mean, easy peasy to do that work.
Okay, good deal. Cool. That's what I needed.
Thanks.
Thank you for your help.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. So there was a lot to unpack there. So there's a client who's in California and has these locks on a job site, and most likely they were just shipped keyed differently or keyed randomly, and it wasn't specified when the job was supplied. The hardware supplier didn't ask if you want any locksmithing done. They didn't try to upsell locksmithing, and it's not an upsell in the sense of you're providing what the client actually wants to a more fuller extent. So with the end user paying for a list of lock sets and then being handed a baggie of, you know, all kinds of different keys, that doesn't serve really their best interests, because the client may not have wanted to pay extra for locksmithing. It's a lot less expensive to order the locks keyed when you order the locks than it is to pull those cylinders out, all of them. Now you have a series of doors that are not secured. Go down to the locksmith. How long will that take? An hour, a day, a month? You've got all these unsecured doors. You call the locksmith in. How much will that cost? How long will that take? An hour, a day, a month? It's always best to handle it when the locks are ordered, because it'll be less expensive. The material will show up with probably not much of an increased lead time. And there'll be a record of all the biddings, so that in 5 years when the owner calls up and says, yep, door number 6, I need to rekey that, not 5 years, probably 5 weeks. Because master key systems do degrade with time, for not only the fact that people move, people lose keys, applications change. This office is no longer an office. Now we've got one suite of 3 doors that were 7, 8, and 9, and now it all needs to become 13. So master key systems are living systems, and they do evolve with time. They get changed. They get expanded. They get they're forced to contract. And that's another thing when you're establishing a master key system. What is the expansion specification? That's a technical term that says, how much bigger do you expect this to grow so that I can plan? Because it's all math behind. I mean, it's literally math. It's grammar school math in the sense of it's just whole numbers, but it's math in terms of how you derive what we call the biddings, or the cuts on the key, and how you design that system. So when the cylinders are ordered from the distributor, the whomever is supplying them, already keyed according, you'll also have a reasonable expectation that there's been a record kept, especially if you've requested a record kept, or if you've requested a record kept and you be given a copy of that record, which you should do, so that you can put that in your safe and know in 5 years, oh, here it is. This is the master key. These are the cuts on the master key. And once you've got the bidding, or the cuts, the bidding, B-I-T-T-I-N-G, you're in good shape to continue to maintain that system, because when you lose something, the proper way, as I had said just initially in that phone call, is everything has to be redone, because it's the only way to know what occurred, because what's missing is that list, that bidding list. Okay. Now, this client in California, they can ship us the cylinders to Florida. We can do all that locksmithing here. I would need to know the keyway, so I make sure that I've got the key blank, but the knowledge to build the system according to the client's specifications, which are yet to be determined. It might just be a level 2 system, a master key, and then 12 locks, or whatever the number is, 2 locks, or 1,200 locks keyed differently and master keyed, or a level 3 system where there's a grandmaster and then 2 masters and then a variety of doors below that, change keys below that. The science on how to build the structure in order to load the plugs, or the cylinder plugs, with tumblers, they're pins people call them, but tumblers is the better term, is the science of locksmithing that we here know how to do. The different methodologies on how to achieve or harvest a bidding list, whether you're using total position progression or rotating constant, or the matrix method, which is not a method that I use. I've used it, but rotating constant would be preferable for level 2 systems. Total position progression is what most people use, but it's not best at all, and I could easily argue why it's not. So getting it keyed locally, taking it to a locksmith, having the locksmith come, is the second option after shipping it to us. Worst case scenario, he says, well, I can't do any of that, but you know what I can do? I can temporarily lock these things up. How quickly can you get me the cylinders keyed? 2 weeks, great, send them all to me. The problem with that is you're now buying not only cut keys, cut change keys, cut master keys, the locksmithing services, and the hardware itself, so you want to try to avoid that. It all does boil down to planning ahead. When you're ordering the locks, order them already keyed. It is always the least complicated way to go. You can even have those locks sent where you've got construction keys that operate them, so that the builder has a key that operates them until such a time you come in with a new key and disable those old keys. You could have interchangeable core. You can do lots of things, but planning ahead is the way to go. And the message that I got was needs it tomorrow kind of thing. So that's, unless you know how to key locks and have all the tools, tomorrow is a tough pill to swallow, short of calling a 24-hour locksmith and paying a fortune. And it's only a fortune because, well, it is a lot of money, but you're not paying the locksmith the 3 hours of work that he has. You're paying him for the 3 decades of accumulation of knowledge that he is or she has undergone. So, any questions on this topic of master keying and how to order locks and etc., please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.